I would like to call to order the Haymarket Town Council work session for Tuesday, September 3rd at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Janning,
Here.
Costello,
Present.
Larson, Cater,
Here.
Snyder,
Here.
Ramirez,
Here.
Gallagher.
Here.
For the record, Mr. Mayor, Larson is joining us by Zoom.
Can we hear?
All right, and we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh.
Pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It'll be okay.
I'm like, always. All right, so the first item on the agenda is the monthly report. Roberto, financial report.
Could you do me a favor? Put that in the chat. Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, council. This is a little outdated. I know that we had to push the meeting a week. But is there any specific questions on this one? Because I will speak on it on the following one, which is more up to date. So I don't know if you have any questions currently on this one, though. The reason why I state that is because, well, this report was printed was a week prior to when we were collecting meals taxes and the TOT. So that definitely changed. And you'll see that in the regular
In the
meeting.
regular meeting.
That's fine with me.
Anybody have any questions? No? All right. So let's go to our outdoor events ordinance.
Yes, thank you.
With that intro,
With that intro, happy September. I'm going to keep this brief this evening. I've received comments from a majority of the council members, and I'm working on pulling together a draft outdoor event ordinance update. Due to a legal conflict, I am having to navigate a different scenario with our attorneys, but I will touch base with the town council as I have more information to add to that. But I am actively working on pulling together everyone's comments on the outdoor event ordinance. So if you have any questions, if you have any additional feedback, just let me know. Otherwise, I have what everybody's already submitted and what we discussed in our last work session meeting.
just a quick question. So with respect to the attorneys and having a conversation with them, including them, and how long do you think it's going to take for us to circle back and kind of go through it?
I'm hoping that I'll be ready to circle back at our work session at the end of the month and have a document to at least be discussing with the council at that time, a draft document.
So September, end of September, beginning our next meeting, regular meeting, in October.
Mhm.
And then if the council deigns it sufficient, we'll go forward with the public hearing.
That's correct, yes. So we'd go forward with a public hearing. So it could be a November, December, I would say early December timeframe of having a document passed. If we get any public comment, being able to address that.
And those that are directly affected by any changes, they would be notified of the public hearing?
Certainly.
Okay,
Anyone else?
that's all I have, Madam Vice Mayor.
All right, so then our next item is the military banner program. Alexandria, can you give us an update, please?
Yes, so I just need a direction. First, I need the option for the flag picked. If you want to keep the same look, which is on page 9, is what we have now. And the following pages, 13 through 15, shows other options. Just need to know what you guys want and confirmation of the things attached in the memo so that I can work with the company to finalize the application. They prepare the application, so
Madam Vice Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes.
So the banner you're talking about on page 9 is what we have now too?
Yes,
Okay.
those are the ones that were ordered before.
Well, I'd like to defer to
Want to do that
our
one?
military personnel on the board, retired or former, and see what they think.
I think so. I think 1 on 9, in terms of the amount of text that's available to note service and background. It simply has more messaging, has more characters to be able to, if someone wants to, mine had my campaigns and had my awards on it. So I do believe that larger sign, a larger size picture, more prominent name, information at the bottom. So that seemed to be most efficient of all the banner types.
So the one we currently have.
So the one-
Yes, the one we currently have.
You want to keep the one we have now? Yeah? Okay, that's
Yes.
fine.
Can I have anything to say over there? I'm sorry, Madam President.
No, you're fine. Jessica, can have anything to say? Can
Oh.
Okay. Alright. Anybody else?
Thumbs up, Kim?
No? So we want to give direction to keep it,
Thumbs up, he's okay.
okay, so give direction to keep it the same.
That, and if there's any information in the memo that you are not in agreement with or want to change, or then that would be good. If you're
You wanna
fine
talk
with,
about that? You want to talk about that now?
I would help get the application started, yeah. If we can get like all of that ironed out, then they can actually create it so that I could bring back an official application, yes.
Right, so, go ahead.
And the sponsorship rate, you state, the fee can be paid by check or credit card to the town of Haymarket. Are we going with a different company than the company that we originally started with? I thought they were going to be handling the monetary piece.
No, they do not take payment. We take the payment and then we write them a check.
Ah,
And
okay.
and we wrote a check the last time as
Okay.
well.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Question?
Yes.
So in your memo, the recommendation about after the first year, if there is a problem with it, that you recommend that we, the town, replace it at our cost, the town's cost? Is that correct?
That's a suggestion.
That's a suggestion,
yeah.
okay.
Another jurisdiction did that as well. It's up to you if you want to do that.
Is that the
Um,
jurisdiction that's in here, Ardsley, New
No,
York?
not New
Oh,
York. It was in Virginia. I think Stanley
Stanley, okay.
or Staunton.
All right.
Um,
Well, I'm a little concerned about that personally, my opinion. I don't know what the exposure would be and how many and all of that kind of stuff. So need to have some numbers behind that to get a better sense of it. I mean, how many are we going to do total? Do we know?
Matt said there's about 42 arms, and if needed, he could get a few more. There's a light pole on the side of the hotel if we needed an extra one, but so far, I think 42 is what he's comfortable with.
So thinking that might be somewhere in the area of $4,500.
$100 a piece.
$100 a piece, maybe 4,500 to 5,000, if in fact there was that many failures.
Mhm.
In 2026, because it would be after the 1 year period for that.
Yeah, there is a period where they cover lost, damaged, stolen.
1 year.
Mhm.
Just one year.
Right. So we put them up in, I guess the first time you put them up would be in Memorial Day weekend
Mhm.
through 4th of July.
Yeah,
be next year, so
2025.
2025. And then the Veterans Day in the fall. So anytime after that, if there was something, it would be on the town. So that could still be in next year's budget or the year after. It all depends. I'd like to have a talk on the finance liaison side about that.
Okay.
If we could. What do you think, Vice Mayor?
I would too.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
I think that in previous discussions, from what I can recall, we were all very comfortable with the warranty. I apologize. I can't recall if you said we were going to reuse these banners. How many times? Like, what's that cycle going to look like? I think that might change how I feel about ownership and replacement.
So a 2-year period from roughly a week or two before Memorial Day to July 4th.
Okay.
And then they're taken down and put back up in November for Veterans Day.
Okay.
So those 2 times for 2 years.
Okay.
And that's about it. And at the end of that period, offer them to the applicant.
Okay.
So
And I'm sorry,
I suppose if we haven't filled all the spaces in 2 years, we could revisit and keep them up until we fill all our spots, but
Mhm.
I feel like it might need to look slightly different then.
So if we're going to keep these banners for a 2-year cycle and the warranty only covers 1, I think that it would be our due diligence to, and like before that first year warranty is up, we have a set time frame where we're assessing
Mhm.
the condition of each banner and then reporting them to be replaced by the warranty as necessary. I think that it would speak volumes of our council and our town if we took ownership of maintaining them for that last year and offer to replace them. I think that is one very simple way for like $5,000, we can offer our gratitude and for people who have served this country and ensured our freedoms and safeties. I'm comfortable with that. I'm not opposed to that idea at all. So that's my position.
A question?
Yes.
The previous banners, if I recall correctly, and if I'm wrong, please just correct me, so I'm going off memory, was there were like kind of 2 options on the materials, and I think the last time we went with the lower material.
Yeah.
This time, I believe we're going with the higher regarded material, which is less likely to be damaged as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Based upon-
It's like a $10 upgrade, but that's included in the cost here, but for the premium, yes.
And approximately what percentage of the banners were damaged over the course of the years that we've had them out there?
I would say a dozen out of probably 55 that were purchased.
Okay.
We did have a good number get damaged, but I would add to that, we also now don't contract out the placement of the banners. So you have somebody in staff who is a lot more passionate about his streetlights and how he cares for them and making sure that the banner arms aren't getting yanked and pulled on. And that was the biggest problem with these banners is they were a touch different sizing than our other banners. So there's more care going into just the taking down of them, storing them, putting them up, etc. A lot more attention.
Thank you.
So we're saying the risk is less.
I tend to agree with my colleague here that, we're honoring the people who have served our country. And I think that what we're talking about is, from what I just heard is, 20 to 25% of our banners at a lower quality with less care being given as to how they were treated were ultimately damaged. And this is a low risk thing that we can do for our community and our service people. So that's my personal opinion.
We just, if I may,
Go ahead.
if I may. My dad, we have one for my dad back in our hometown. And it's essentially the same program that we have here. But that the folks who purchase it, they have the responsibility for it. And they do a really great job of honoring our service veterans, past, present. And so the argument of a lower risk is very helpful. And I think after talking with the finance liaisons, we might be able to consider absorbing that. I would think that might be something we would like to discuss first, if that's okay with the council.
And I don't, if I might add, I don't necessarily need that portion for the application itself. That would be like an addition on our website, like informational. I don't think that's an application requirement on their end. The material and sizing and what kind of banner, which you just confirmed, is to get started. So, I mean, I can work with what we have.
But
and
I think
cost.
it might be, I think we could resolve this relatively quickly so that you can have an answer
Okay.
to do that, because I think it makes more sense to have that out there.
I agree with Joe, setting the expectation from the start on who's going to pay for any replacements after the warranty could be actually a big decision maker for families as well, I think. So I think we should clarify that.
Sure.
I agree. That's what I was going to say. And one of the things that I like to wrap my mind around something in regards to the replacement. I concur with the paying respect and being open to that. I just like to know where it's going to come from. And I want to be very, very clear to anybody participating in the program so that expectations are set. So.
And that's only for the 2 years, right? And then what happens after the 2 years?
They get the option
Plus.
to
Right.
take the banners back, and then we start a new period.
And buy new
Where they-
ones.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh,
I'm sorry, the finance discussion was just how do we absorb the costs?
Or the line item that it comes from. Yep.
For clarification, is I'm putting this back on the agenda for the October meeting for you to make a directive at that time? After your finance committee meeting?
I think it should go back on the work session for the
Yeah,
end of
we
the
could do it
month.
on the work
and then-
session.
Yeah, so that we can get the
going.
applications.
Agreed. End of September work session.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, is there a consensus here that we should go forward with replacement costs? That's the next question. I mean, because if the finance liaisons sit down, if the council wants to empower us, we can make that decision sooner.
I
Yep.
think the only person we haven't heard from is Alexander and Ken.
I mean, even if we were to say there is a 25% failure rate, we're talking about $1,000, right? Out of $5,000, $1,000. So, and based on the fact that we're going to use upgraded material, the chances of that happening are minimal, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
So I'm good with that. Yes.
How about the boss?
He's in outer space.
If you guys were able to make a decision sooner, we could have the applications ready and be advertising at Haymarket Day too. Because we do sometimes get questions at the booth around Haymarket Day and especially upcoming Veterans Day.
Mhm.
So they wouldn't be hung this year, but we could have answers for those asking.
But I do have a question. So after 2 years, if the banner is in good condition, and if they want to reuse it again, we're not going to give them that option. They're going to have to purchase a new banner. Is that what we're going to do?
Good question.
I think that would be up to you. I think what I was proposing, that if there's a lot of applicants waiting to come on to the next term, that we would have to wait for them to reapply for a following.
Yeah, I
So
read
if
about
it's-
that.
Yeah, if it's in good condition,
Yeah.
I don't see why we couldn't reuse it, but that, I would-
And
what you recommend.
And we aren't sure
Oh.
if we're gonna have 84 applicants the first year and we have to pick 42, and then we have a complete set ready for the following year. So we kind of need to judge popularity of it. If it's something where we have a wait list of 10 people, certainly we would go with that wait list first, and then we would, re-advertise it, start the new program on year 3. But right now we don't know if we have over 42 asking.
Yeah, one last question. So it's a 2-year program.
Mhm.
Are we going to, after 2 years, are we going to open it up again to everybody? Or are we going to call the folks that previously did it to see if they want to do it again? Or is it just going to be first come, first serve?
Open it up again. I would let them know that the term is ending there, more that they can pick up their banners since they've paid for them, and then they could potentially reapply if there's not a lengthy wait list.
And we'd make sure that those who, if they moved out of town, right, we want to keep the same requirements in there that, you're a in-town resident
Right.
or
I like that.
nearby. I think the only other question I would have for council is everyone okay with how it was phrased about the number of banners you could purchase, that it could be for a spouse, partner, a child, and or a like grandparent. We were trying to make it so in this scenario that maybe there's a 3-generation family with military, that each generation could be appropriately represented.
I think
And
in
then-
here- in
sorry,
here
go
it
ahead.
says up to 2 and then up to 3 with exception or some sort
Yes,
of-
and the reason I asked this is because we did have one family previously who did purchase, I think it was 4 or 5. And so we just want to make sure we're trying to be fair to all, that we have enough spaces and we have enough options.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of, it covered the scenarios that we could come up with. Certainly, if there's exceptions, we can work with
Yeah.
the unique scenarios as they arise. I'm sure there's always one you don't think of.
Anything?
Works for me.
No, we're good. Okay. All right.
Okay,
So everybody's clear?
we're gonna go, we need like without objection, somebody direct the deputy clerk to proceed with the military banner program with the replacement after 1 year. That the town will bear the cost of the banner if damaged, and the finance liaisons would direct staff on where to pull the funds from. That would be the directive.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
As Bob would say, I'm not going to die in that house.
So you need somebody to actually direct that.
I was gonna
Yes.
say.
Okay.
I was-
Yeah, you need somebody to say
So,
that.
because we're the liaisons, could somebody else
As directed,
as directed?
as stated by the
Yeah.
clerk.
Okay.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Doing great.
We don't have to
I was
say
just, I was just
You're
saying,
doing great,
I
Jason
only
Lynn.
because I'm on finance, I was like, oh.
We're good.
All right, perfect. All right, so our next item is the trash bins update. Emily, the town council was asked to talk to their neighbors. Do we have any updated numbers?
I have not heard from any council members, so I'm hoping you guys all came with your homework and you're gonna give me feedback right now.
I have homework.
All right.
Who's going first?
Okay.
Matt and I are going to share.
I'm actually going to defer to my colleague to the right, and then I'll chime in with color commentary.
So who wants to go? I think you went first with it. You announced it first out of all of us on the Facebook.
Oh, you copied me and put it on Green Hill?
I did,
Look at that.
not
Um,
verbatim, but.
Would you
close.
like me to go first? then?
Sure.
Okay, so I apologize, I did not bring the written down feedback in front of me. I have it in a separate little book at home, so I'm happy to email that out to council if you would prefer the exact numbers. But I will say that of the 25 people I was able to get responses from, only 2 requested that the town pay for new trash cans. Everybody else is happy with the smaller size ones or the standard size ones. And of the 25 people that I asked, 2 believed that the town should fund that with taxpayer money. Everyone else felt comfortable that it was on an as needed basis, and thus those families' responsibilities. I had a wide variety of responses from single people to larger families. And I was surprised, but that was the feedback I got.
Thank you. If you don't mind, yes, could you email those numbers so I can include them in the
Yes.
next report? Thank
Mhm.
you.
You want the narratives too?
If you have them, we'll take the feedback. I'll include
I have
it.
some candid responses. Do you
I-
want me to
Sure.
read them aloud? I'm just kidding.
Say, how do we print off these comments on the Facebook?
Yeah.
What was the Green Hill response? So that was the Long Street, or that was including other neighborhood areas?
Long Street and also the homes along Fayette, like the single family homes lining around where Mayor's home is. That little V shape of group of people-ish,
Okay.
give or take spots there.
Cool. So Matt and I drew straws. I had to post the post, get the wrath. So I posted it, I said Monday trash day, wish for a larger can. The new vendor inside town limits states the sizes of the recently updated cans are an industry standard. Larger cans are available, $75 each, and are on back order until October. The town is considering upgrading all residences. Estimated cost is up to 45 grand. Before the council makes a decision, they are asking your opinion. So I thought I was clever and did a Facebook poll, not realizing that if you don't shut off, people will add their own options. So 27 votes for an option that I put on there was town upgrade all cans. Second option, residents pay per home. That got 3. An added comment, buy a bigger can, 45,000 is stupid. That was 5 votes. Town upgrade cans for residents who want larger size and residents who prefer smaller size keep what they have. That was 7. So the 8 comments that posted, some had questions about what was the cost, how did we negotiate the deal, where is this coming from, all the sort of who, what, when, where, and why. So now the decision's made, I think there's some people wanted sort of the backstory and the history, which I'm gonna hit you guys up for because I don't remember it all. We had another one about, which I thought was probably the best option, if a household needs a larger can, maybe split the difference with the town, which may be a reasonable cost. The challenge with that is how do you solicit everybody to select that option? There are some folks that felt like they were not notified of the decision. And then something that I shared with, totally separately, that I shared with Emily is that the hydraulic fluid from these trucks are everywhere. And so the one comment I got was, the front of our houses are looking like a used car lot. So I know there's a separate way to address that. So, and then the last one was please upgrade all the cans. Some were saying that they generate too much trash per day and that they needed a larger can to be able to fit that. So I can get these printed off and get them to you in some capacity. Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll kind of add to that. I then, this was a heavy topic of our annual Labor Day barbecue on my street. We do always a little street party. Side note, Chief, it's the first time that no police showed up. So, all right, usually we feed you guys, so it's, but it's, I think what the results I got there were a lot of, ironically, I'm not gonna answer a Facebook poll, but I'll tell you what I think. Although one gentleman was there who provided the 45K is stupid option. He was there and certainly shared his opinion. The overall thing there was that $45,000 was ridiculous to spend, that there was no need for it. There was one person who did admit that she was very upset that we did go to the smaller totes, but because it now means that she has to bring the garbage down twice a week, whereas she used to get away with once a week. And so, but there were a few young families there. One particular family specifically said they could fill a full toter every day with the amount of trash they have with their kids. And they said, but they just decided as long as they're allowed to just go and buy their own at Home Depot or Lowe's, that they didn't see why it should be incumbent upon the town to purchase it. So it was interesting in that it was almost in Green Hill Crossing, yet the opposite of what the poll said, with people specifically saying, we're not going to answer a poll. So that's
Marsha? I'm sorry, Matt.
feedback there. Yep.
May I ask if this is Green Hill Crossing Haymarket side only? Or is this Facebook group Green Hill Crossing including Gainesville residents?
So the page goes both.
Okay,
In the ad, I tried to say, or the posting inside town limits only to sort of emphasize it was in town limits only, but I don't have a way to validate who's inside, who's outside.
Okay.
Looking at the names
Mhm.
from Noah, I would say most, if not all, were in the town.
okay,
And kind of also important to note that the Gainesville side uses the same company
Mhm.
and they have the larger totes.
right.
So they were not, I didn't find any of the usual suspects who comment from from the Gainesville side were
Okay.
not commenting here.
That would be my only question about that data.
Curious about the other side of the HOA and the contract and when that contract will be up.
Next year.
So I wonder if in fact it'll be the same as it is here in town.
It's next year.
Smaller totes.
It's next year. It's up that I
They
understand.
renegotiate the contract, you mean?
And You would think if we were receiving the same feedback of an industry standard for twice a week pickup is now a smaller tote, if that's something that would be passed to the other side of the neighborhood. Should they continue?
There's been enough discussion of it outside of even the poll. There's been enough comments that have been made across the Green Hill Crossing page that I would think that, yes, they will. They're certainly aware of it.
And they get twice a week pickup over
They
there?
get
as
twice a
well?
week pickup,
Okay.
same days. Different crew, ironically.
Total sidebar, on the Facebook poll, it's not anonymous, so you see your face pop up, and that's why people probably didn't want to show their
I
votes.
think that's.
I will try to get better trained on Facebook polls. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Okay, so let's see. One outside of our HOA, Green Hill, who said absolutely not. Don't need it, and I'm not paying for it, and you're not paying for it. Okay. The rest, 12 families in my HOA, which probably represents close to 20% response rate. 13 families, 9 responses in total. 8 respondents are fine with the existing totes. They've adjusted. Well, I can read you some of the comments. I agree. I was concerned about the size at first, but it seems to be adequate. The current tote is adequate for us. Good morning. The current bins are adequate for us. We are good with the current size. We're fine with the current size. And then we had one outlier. The one outlier basically said, we would be happy to pay up to $75 of our own if we could have a larger tote. But the majority don't need it, don't want it, don't pay for it.
Okay. I think this is good feedback. Does the council have any other thoughts on it? Any other discussion points you want to add tonight?
No, I think it took a minute to adjust to it. I will speak
Mhm.
for my family. Recycling has started taking place. So that's nice.
That's an awesome green initiative,
Yes,
and I
thank
hope
you.
that's one that spreads widely through our town.
And also on the rare occasion that there is a extra, that has not been an issue.
Okay.
So
So with this feedback, if you guys will send us the comments via email so we can kind of look at more of the numbers and see where we're at. It seems like generally speaking, Green Hill had the most wanting to see that the town pay for bigger cans. But the other areas seem to be relatively okay with it. We can touch base with the contractor and see when they might have any availability, if that's been pushed at all, and just kind of get that information and come back at the work session and see what the updated timeframe is there. And talk about any additional options if there are any. But otherwise, I think we could, here at the end of the month, make a final decision on it. And then if you guys collect any more information, just bring us that feedback as well.
Okay.
If you do any more Facebook polling, let us know how it goes.
I think I'm done,
Okay.
although I have some responses to make.
are we
Okay.
good?
But
mhm.
wait a minute, one more question though. I'm sorry,
No, go
Vice Mayor. So we are going, depending on the response from the vendor, we are going to go forward with making them available?
To be determined. So if their availability date got pushed back, because I don't know if October was like hard set, we are going to get them this date and we'll have copious amounts of them, or if we'll just have small availability for select residences who are wanting to pay for the upgrade. So we'll see what they would have available and get a better timeline. Based on some of the feedback I'm hearing, I think what I would propose council do is make them available to the residents who want them at their own payment.
Question. Is there anything prohibiting a resident from going to Home Depot and buying a tote sort of a large toilet for themselves, and then just probably because, I looked it up, it's less than 75 at Home Depot. I mean, a resident could go and do that without having to purchase directly from American, right?
And
And
I'll
then
speak
it's
that
theirs.
my neighbors have done that and trash pickup is not an issue.
And then it's theirs, they own it, they can do with it as they please. And as for the hydraulic fluid, I do have a call into them. We're working on getting that resolved,
Thank you.
so.
I'm thinking about the contract itself, and is there anything in there? And that's a good question, because that was one of my questions as well, regarding whether you can get a bigger tote on your own, but what if you put two out? Are they required to pick up both? The little one and the big one?
Let me look back in the contract, but when we initially were having this issue, the contract representative told us that it was okay for residents to go out and purchase their own additional
Okay,
can.
good to know. All right.
And Alex had his hand.
Yes, so Emily, for those that have a big issue with this larger or smaller totes, I would like to think that they would contact the town directly, right? So can you give us an idea of direct contacts from town residents in relation to the smaller?
Yes, Alex has been fielding a lot of the trash calls, and handling a lot of the switchover, the
Trash
new
talk.
residents, all of the issues. So she kind of has the best idea on what feedback we've been getting.
For a larger can,
We're going to put a sign above you that says, "Time for trash talk."
trucks. I haven't had any requests recently. I think it was initially in July when it was the transfer, and especially your community where it also is connected to Gainesville, and they were concerned they didn't have the same one or why theirs was different. So that was a majority of them at first. And we've had a few, one here and there, but I haven't had a lot. Most of them were in July when it first happened.
And in
So-
July, like approximately how many would you say contacted you?
No more than 10.
No more than 10. Okay.
And some of those did ask the question, can we purchase our own? I think even in Mary's community, also, there have been some in the company, so that's fine. As long as it's clearly like labeled or they know what it is, then you can purchase your own. So, but I haven't had any recently. There hasn't been an influx of calls about it, so.
I mean, I think that gives us an idea, right?
Mhm.
I would like to think that the town residents that had a big problem with going with the smaller containers would reach out directly, right? To, you would think, right?
Bigger problem is if we didn't have the containers.
Right, so, but okay, thank you, Al.
Marshawn?
I think what happened the first week was that if you had trash outside the can, they would not pick it up.
That's right.
And so I guess the labor, and you have to get out of the truck, grab it in there. So if that's resolved by a second can, then I think that takes care of that. So.
We good? Yes, okay, wonderful. All right, so our next item is the GoGov app update. Julia, can you provide us with an update, please?
Hello, Council. I wanted to provide a few answers to the questions you all had at the last work session in regard to the GoGov app. As of August 1st, we had 219 downloads. I'm hoping to get an updated number at the beginning of each month. I reached out to them today, hopefully get an answer soon to see how many more we have. I wanted to remind you all that this whole program is able to be customized to whatever we feel works best for us. That goes with saying I think you all asked about an automated response. When somebody submits a request, we can set up a automated response that goes out, letting them know that to give us 48 hours or whatever we feel is right, just so they know what to expect. Another thing I asked them about was how they track things. They have a reporting suite that pulls metrics of all items. So you can pull up all the previous items that you've resolved, items that you are currently working on, and then you can just see them all in a whole list. And then lastly, I asked about their security certification. Their entire solution uses HTTPS protocol. So if you have any follow-up questions on that, just let me know and I can reach out to them. So yes.
Awesome, thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Any additional questions?
Yeah. So how many more was that over the last report? 219.
Well, the last report, that was on my, it was on the last month's admin report. So that's the same number. I got that on August 1st. So I can email all of you once he responds back to me with his updated number so we can compare it.
Okay, so we need an updated number. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So if there's no other questions, I would like to propose that we move forward with the contact us on the app. And that's well within our availability for spending. We can afford it. So I'd like to proceed forward with that and launch that pre-Haymarket Day so that that's a tool that we can widely spread at Haymarket Day. We're already starting to use the QR code on all of our printed materials and push that out there. So I think the more we can get it out there in our public events and things of that nature, the better.
I agree. Anybody have any objections?
I do.
Okay.
Well, not an objection, but I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, Madam Town Manager.
Yes.
So what are going to be some of the metrics we're going to use for showing usage, efficiency, reliability, effectiveness, essentially? I can see doing this, and I'd like to offer an addendum to what you just proposed,
Okay,
that we do it for a year and see how it works.
certainly.
Because frankly, for 219 people, it doesn't seem like a lot.
And I think what our metrics would start showing is that if they knew they could contact us through a quick app, like say they're at the farmer's market and they notice there's a big pothole in the middle of the parking lot and everybody keeps tripping on it. They can take a picture right then, they can submit it on the app. It's a very quick, ease of use style thing than going home, taking a business card, typing an email, sending it in. So I think as we see the accounts increase and how many people are downloading our app and utilizing it by making an account, we'll have metrics there. We'll have information on how many people are actually contacting us and reaching out. If we have on our website information of, hey, are you looking to contact us in a quicker, faster method? Here's how you can do it via the mobile app. You can track where your request comes in. You can track the status of it. It's a lot more user friendly, and you're going to get a lot more information on where your request is in queue than on the website when you just, click here to submit kind of thing.
I have to admit, it was good to get at about 8,000 feet. I wasn't getting it at 10,000 feet, but I was getting it back in town at around 8,000 feet.
Good to know. It still worked at high altitude.
It worked semi-high altitude.
Semi.
And my question is, who does the input for that? Do we notify them? Does Julia do the input itself?
Input in this.
The
going out.
notifications and what have you?
So the wonderful thing is Julia is doing all of it in-house. And so like, for example, the sidewalk, we got notification late last week that our contractor needed to close the park for sidewalk work and it was going to affect the playground. So I could send her a quick email. I said, here's what I want it to say. She typed it up. She could schedule it to go out 3 different times. And so everything is very user-friendly. You can do it ahead of time. You can get it scheduled. It's very instantaneous as well. So when we have like the work session get canceled, she can get right on there, send something out, cancel it. We are going to have cross-training so that it's not just Julia and staff. I'm hoping here soon Chief will be able to start getting his messaging out as well on the app. That's always been the intent, is that we have the cross between the PD and the town hall.
Well, that sounds like a great idea. So with these, I guess, requests for information, that goes directly to them and then they come back to us, or do you guys see that automatically?
The contact us features?
Yeah.
So the way I understand it, Julia, correct me if I'm wrong, it comes in and then we can pick a staff member who it's assigned to. And so, for example, everything could come into Julia and then she can disseminate it out to the appropriate staff member and flag it as necessary. Or if her and I are the only two that have an account, we can divide up. You take 50% of the types of requests, I take the other 50, and then we go from there. So it's very you can tailor it to what you need in your department.
So it comes to
To follow
staff.
up on that,
Mhm.
say somebody goes and they want to submit something about the farmer's market or event. They'll click on the farmer's market tab and that automatically goes to me because that would be set in the app that all event questions go directly to me. If they had a question about zoning or whatever, you could have it set so it automatically goes to Thomas. So in the app, it would automatically go to those people.
But will you see it as well as kind of like the admin person? who can
Yeah,
manage
yeah,
it?
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right. I-
So right now there are 4 admin, myself, Julia, Chief, and Alex. So we are all admins on the account.
What about Roberto?
He's busy with finances.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds like something that could grow. I'm not sure it's there yet, but I'm not going to get in the way of it. But I would suggest maybe we assess it down the road, maybe 6 months, 1 year, whatever the case may be.
And I think through adequate campaigning of it and advertising and really getting the word out there that we have this featured app is what's going to make it successful. If we don't ever advertise it and people don't know about it, then we're just setting it up for failure. But the more we can get out there, the better.
I was gonna say, I do have something to say, but
Oh,
Mary
you
had
go
something.
first. You had your hand up
Are you
first.
sure?
Please, yeah.
Something to keep in mind is that this is a way that we are able to connect and communicate with our community. So this 219 will grow and everybody communicates differently. So that is one of our major objectives, is making certain that we are able to reach as many people within our community. So yes, it may seem small now, but we will be able, because some people are texters, some people are apps people. So exactly. So
I was gonna say the same thing. I think that everyone up here can agree that participation with government is essential and we want more of it. So I think an app or an opportunity for us to reach more of an audience, that's an investment worthwhile. So.
Yes, from a security perspective, right? This is an app that we are, based on what you said, Emily, something that we're going to promote. The name of the app itself is called My Haymarket, right?
Yes.
I see that the app that has an ability to collect personally identifiable information such as name, email address, and phone number, which can be misused if it falls in the wrong hands. I see that information, they don't share that information, but that's not my concern. But anyways, just saying that they leverage HTTPS protocols is not good enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you an email with sets of questions that you can forward to them and then have them respond and we'll go from there. I'm not trying to slow the progress or anything like that. But again, this is something that we're promoting and asking our town residents to use, right? So it will be a shame on us if through the use of this app, right, bad things happen to them, right? I'm looking at it from that perspective. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you'll just send the email to Julia and she'll take care of it. Thank you.
Be quiet. Meeting started playing on my computer. I apologize.
Are there any other app questions? Because we do have 10 minutes and 3 agenda items. 9 minutes.
Really quickly, just to
Yes.
clarify with the security piece, can you use the app without registering as a user? So your personal information is not necessarily at risk? Okay.
Yes, yeah. If you don't register as a user, you just get all the notifications. If you register, you can pick which ones you receive.
We should be, yeah.
Yes.
I would agree with your questions, but so I heard that too, and I kind of laughed, and that they gave this. Talking as the software sales guy here, yeah, that's the blow off answer. So yeah, we need a better answer.
all right, so we're gonna move to the next item on the agenda, which is the communication plan framework.
Yeah, so I'll be quick, and this is probably a great lead-in from the application. So what I've provided here to everybody is an extremely rough version of a framework of the types of things that we need to be thinking about as part of an overall communication plan. You know, we talked about, we just had a conversation about the app, and 219 people. There's some questions I have on it. I'll go offline with you on that. But I think that's just kind of one thing. I think I don't want to think about a communication plan as just, what are the things we use and, what type of information. So I've tried to capture just a number of different thoughts I've had with regards to what needs to go into a communication plan. And I have looked at some different communities in and around Virginia to kind of see some of the things that they've considered as well. And just what I'm looking for everybody, because I know we only have 9 minutes left in this meeting and 2 other agenda items. What I'd really like from everybody, and I can answer some initial questions, but I'd like the council and staff to take a look at this. And there's a lot of holes that there are just things that I'm sure I'm missing in here. I'd like to get everybody's feedback on this, and kind of where we go with this. And then I'd like to then be able to meet with staff to start to get this a little bit more formalized, for lack of a better word. But I really looking for feedback on our both our audience, the internal and external stakeholders, any kind of demographics that we have. Some of the key messages, the things that we need to get out, both from an emergency and non-emergency perspective, and are we using the right communication vehicles in order to get that out? What are those channels? And I think it's great. I always say, the best channel of all is, anytime we can do face-to-face and actually have a conversation with another human. That's probably some of the best, and I think sometimes that gets ignored. And then putting together kind of a content strategy and also a crisis communication plan as part of this. So these were just some of the kind of the thoughts I've had. This is, like I said, really, really rough. I'll answer any immediate questions, but what I'd really like is to get some feedback on this so that we can have another discussion at our next work session. And then also maybe within that time this month, and then maybe we can try to find some time to sit down. Come in one afternoon and we can sit and chat about this as well, because I think you can fill in a lot of these holes for me. So that's all I had. Again, in the interest of time, that's what I wanted to go through today.
So feedback independently through email maybe, and put it back on a work session for the end of the month? Or-
Email would be great. Email, text. If there was a contact us feature in the app, let me tell you, no, email is generally the best for me. Text is for if you need a quick answer on something, but email feedback would be great for me.
Okay.
So just for clarification purposes, we would plan to get the agenda out the Wednesday before that. So by September 25th is when you'd like our
Yep.
feedback by? Okay, thank you.
And by the way, I'm open to grabbing a cup of coffee or take a walk around the neighborhood with anybody if they'd like to provide feedback that way.
Awesome. All right. And then,
Madam Vice Mayor, I needed to hook up my computer for a PowerPoint. These items are also on the agenda, so for the interest of time, we just wanted to skip 7 and 8, and then I can cover those at the regular meeting agenda items 1 and 2.
does anybody object? No? We're all good? All right, so then we will defer those items 7 and 8 to our regular session.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, meeting is adjourned. We will reconvene at 7.
5 minutes.
Thank you.